legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
supposed to ride, standing in the station, ready to step inside. All you can see, something that you do, was red as the future was waiting for you. Train rolls in the station, you cannot make a move. Something inside you gives you heat, and then you know it's true. Is the fog lifting, or is it in your mind? You stand frozen as time unwinds. You can weep and moan, or you can reach your hand up and stop standing alone. Let them take your hand as you lift your face. Rise and take your place.
Stand by.
You hit the radio bullseye.
and the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
So, hey folks, welcome to Eye on the Target Radio with Rob and Amanda. It's getting to be that season where you're looking for things to buy that are gun related, sports related, something related, as a gift for someone within your circle. So
it's easy, just buy a gun.
I was going to say, what are you thinking about?
Or buy gun parts. Everybody needs some parts.
Well, so let's run down through some of the great things that you could have or that you should have to be able to gift to somebody.
Some people are much easier than others due to the fact that, I mean, they just round out their whole thing. They're not only a collector and a shooter, but they also are a reloader and a bullet caster and some of the other stuff, or they may be very into their, whatever you want to call the ballistics part of it, so they want to know how fast their bullets are going or any of that. So there's a million little gadgets you could buy for that kind of stuff. And if you like to shoot so far that you got to take into account the Coriolis effect of the Earth, then you got to deal with the wind and all kinds of other things that go along with it. So that adds more gadgetry.
Now, see, we could start with the easy stuff. I mean, really, if you wanted to tiptoe in, look in somebody's range bag in their supplies, how are they set for cleaning supplies? How are they set for Hoppies number 9? How are they set for gun oil? How are they set for that kind of stuff?
That stuff's boring. You need to get a Maglula in pink or blue or green.
Okay, so Maglula is a, and all they really need to know do they have to know the caliber or just that it's a single stack, double stack?
Right, they make a small one if you just shoot like 25, 32, 380 type thing in a single stack, and then they make a big one that fits every double stack and a lot of single stacks over 380 and above also.
Okay.
But like on the Smith & Wesson EZs, they put a little finger thing on so you could pull the magazine down, and
it has a slider just like the 22s have.
Right, so you can use your thumb off to the side, and you don't really need a speed loader for that. If you it's funny because I show people that it's on there, they're like, "Oh, I never noticed."
I never noticed because I never would have looked for it for a caliber that's bigger than 22. Well, the interesting thing is that if you are looking for something to buy for a shooter, an easy thing to do is they have a favorite gun shop, and you know where that is. You know which gun shop they go to. So a gift certificate to that gun shop can never be wrong, because then they can pick up what they want. That gives them ammo. That gives them, depends on how generous you are. It maybe gives them guns. It gives them ammo, cleaning supplies, range bag.
You could always get a custom bullet mold or something made.
There is that custom bullet mold that just has sweet little endearments in the bullet, right?
Well, no, I had to have a certain. I've been loading 41 Swiss, and it used a 44 Magnum bullet.
Okay.
Even though they call it a 41, it shoots a 44 bullet.
Okay.
And but it's much longer than a standard pistol bullet, so I had to have a custom built mold so that it holds the bullet ahead of it back, and it only lets one at a time into the magazine. Lifter.
Okay.
It's got like a little elevator, so it comes out of the magazine into this little elevator, and then it lifts it up and shoves it into the barrel. And if it's too short, then you get a bullet and a quarter, and then it doesn't work. So
it's trying to slice and shove at the same time, right?
So it's hard to work with a bullet and a quarter.
It just doesn't. Got it. So
a lot of old Winchesters work the same way, though. You got to know how long that elevator is before you can load bullets for it.
Well, I think the other thing to keep in mind is that if you are a gun person, drop hints. There's nothing that your loved ones love more than you take it and you circle it, or you just keep dropping hints. Our video producer is absolutely the best at dropping hints. And so there is that, but you can, because why settle? If there's something that you've got your heart set on, let them know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, why get a bag of pretzels when you could get a new set of magazines
Eagle?
for your,
Right.
or for your Browning T-Bolt or something that,
I mean, if you've got something in mind, yeah, just let them.
or
let
some
them
of
know.
that, some of the stuff, it's like I want it, but it costs so much. I don't really want to spend that kind of money.
I
and
would
so,
be thrilled if it just showed up.
right.
And then there's other stuff that if they just walk in and buy, it's like, yeah, no.
I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, here, take my money and go buy this, but don't tell me what it costs. It's like, I want one, but I'm not at all interested in
I don't
how
wanna
much
know.
it's going to be.
You don't want to know. Now, see, one of the things that, what are you in the gun world? What are you a snob about? What is it that you won't settle? Nothing. You'll settle. Now, see, for me, it's range bags. I
have so many of them. Sometimes when I'm going to the range, I got to take 5 with me anyways.
Well, there's probably a reason
It
why
would
I
be
don't
better
settle. It's because you have.
But mine almost needs a motor, so there's so much stuff that you can't drag it around.
Now, see, I have like a Mission Impossible briefcase for a cleaning bag supplies, so that it all lacks together and kind of.
I mean,
if
you're just going to the range and you take 158 caliber mini balls with you, that's 5 pounds right there without the gunpowder or the primers or any of the other stuff that goes with it. So
You got it. Well, when we were doing that last shoot, it was like I made a trip to the car and a trip to the car and a trip to the car and a trip to the car, and I was like, geez Louise, there's a lot of stuff going in the car. And I just was like to my husband, don't look, because his answer is, where'd all this come from? You don't want to know.
my wife years ago, I don't even know where she bought it from. She got a 1889 Italian Bodeo service revolver.
Okay.
And it shoots a 10.4 millimeter ordnance revolver round. You could just pick them up at any old Walmart, right? It's like so. A friend of mine, he was getting into reloading and doing some older.
Sarcasm right there with the
Right, it was
availability. Yeah.
Well, he was getting into reloading and some oddball stuff. So he borrowed this Bodeo off me, and so he played with it for a little while, and then when he gave it back, he gave me a new box of loaded ammo to go with it. It's kind of funny because the gun is not at all ergonomic. The grip is like a broomstick. The trigger is too far back for your hand to actually function at pulling the trigger. And then it's easy. You got a 30-pound trigger pull. I mean,
so you
it's
can't
not,
get to it. And
it takes 2 fingers to pull. But it's kind of funny that after you shoot it a little bit, it's amazing how accurate the thing is. It'll stack the bullets up in the same hole.
Right there. and you've got one Popeye arm when you're all done, because you
and
have
a Popeye
really,
finger.
one Popeye finger. You have really exercised that your shooting hand. There's
But it's a lot of times. I mean, I have friends that they don't really care to shoot, but they do like to make bullets.
Okay.
And so
they make them for you.
They spend hours and hours making weird casings and weird bullets, and then putting it all together because it's entertaining. And once in a while, we'll go out and shoot some of that stuff. But
just a little to make sure it goes off, and then they're like, "Let's keep working on it." Okay.
Right. I have a 12 millimeter pinfire gun, and my buddy, he's wanting to make bullets for that now. So trying to put the pins in with the primers on the side of the casing.
So describe. I'm sure that we've got a lot of our listeners who have never even heard of a pinfire, because there's rimfire and there's center fire. Those are the traditional.
Between
ones.
the time when the percussion cap was the king and rimfire cartridges took over at the American Civil War, the Europeans were working with this pinfire, and it actually had a primer inside the case, and then just a metal bar that went through the side of the case. So like on a shotgun, you had to orient the bullets so that the pins were sticking up.
Okay.
And then when the hammers come down, it pushed the pins inside, and that lit the fire off.
So they're like pieces. I mean, they're not lead, but like pieces of pencil lead, that kind of size.
Right, about that's maybe I don't know, 80 thousandths diameter wire basically, and they stick about. The big thing is if you carry them loose in your pocket, the pins start falling out and stuff. So they don't lend themselves to travel well. During the American Civil War, though, a lot of the Confederates used them because it was the only thing we could get through this blockade.
Okay.
And so most of them, they don't have any rim on them. They just have a a small copper case with this little pin sticking out.
So
and
if the pin falls out, can you put the pin back, or
you
done?
can, but sometimes your gunpowder falls out with it. Now that there's a hole in the side. So, depending on how long it's been rolling around in your pocket.
I was more concerned that you're holding it in your hand trying to put the little pin in, and then it
takes
decides...
some oomph to make it actually go off.
So it's not...
But they make them from about 2 millimeters up through, I've seen 14 and 12 gauge shotguns.
Okay.
So they made all different sizes and styles of them. It's long gone. I mean, you can't, once in a while, I did see a couple years ago, somebody was making a blank pistol, like a little dinky keychain style, and it shot like a 2 millimeter blank, but that's the only pin fires I've seen that commercially made.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. We're going to talk more about that because I want to know how you would build reloads with pin fire. That is something. So we'll be back right after this.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, so we are back, and we're going to continue the conversation with reloading pinfire, because unless you had something else in mind for the history section.
Well, we had talked last week about the guy that had a pistol that was had a provenance in that. We wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, okay.
But,
well, then go on.
We can cover that. We'll leave it in there. The pinfire stuff. First off, you have to make a case. And usually the easiest way to do it is two pieces so that the back would unscrew off of it.
Okay.
And that way it gives you a little pocket room to put your primer in there and
then
hot glue it in
together.
place, basically.
Hot glue it. I didn't think they had hot glue in the Civil War.
Well, you could crimp it, but it's if you want to get it back out later, you'd be farther ahead with the hot glue than you would with the. So if you put it in and put a little dab of hot glue on it, and then put your pin in place. And ideally, if you made that so it had like a little sliding collar so you could put up on there, you could probably even put like a little rubber O-ring on it so it wouldn't fall out.
Okay.
And then when it goes off, it may burn that rubber collar up, but you just replace that part of do business.
I'm just thinking.
Then you would screw the thing together. You would put your gunpowder in, and then you'd put your bullet on. Or you could make it so that it already had a crimp in it, and you push the bullet in from the front. And then you just fill it with gunpowder and screw the cap on.
Cap on it.
And
I just.
But you think about it, you're sitting there with this basically tin foil, and you're trying to thread it with a real fine thread so that it all screws together.
I'm thinking that
it takes you gotta have a little bit of patience, I guess.
And then when you start to put this together, and you're screwing this together full of gunpowder already.
Right, but it's made out of brass or copper or something.
So it's not going to spark. It's not going to do.
You can probably make them out of aluminum too. Probably aluminum would be the easiest way to make it, and then just plan on throwing them away after a while if they burn out.
Do they survive? But
you just have to unscrew them, soak them in a tub of like vinegar water or something to clean the crud off. Scrub them up good, let them dry, and then start hot gluing again.
Again,
it's not like you sit there and you got to do them while you're at the range. You got to do that while you're sitting around watching TV at night, and then it may take you a couple nights because you got one night of cleaning, one night of hot gluing, one night of packing, and
I'm going to say that my attention span is way shorter than that. And sometimes my attention span is not even long enough to drive to the gun shop to buy the bullets.
It's like rolling your own cigarettes. You just got to, how many do I need ahead of time, and just work towards that goal.
Okay, even that analogy doesn't work for me. Not that I don't smoke, but if I smoked, I'm sure that one of those people has a machine.
You're supposed to look at it as it's a hobby, so it's supposed to take your time away from other stupid things that you would be spending money on, or just sitting around bored stiff and eating bonbons or whatever.
I think eating bonbons is a fabulous hobby.
Right, when you're playing with hot glue and dirty gunpowder and old lead bullets, eating bonbons isn't a good choice.
It's probably not. Let's keep those separate.
So anyhow, going back to the other part,
we're going to talk about provenance. So
this guy bought a pistol.
Let's start with the word provenance is the history, the documented and proven history of something, so that you can demonstrate that you know
they'll
about
actually take a handwritten letter from the 1870s or something.
Not from your girlfriend yesterday, but from...
Right, but if it's written on period correct paper with period correct pen or pencil or whatever, and it was witnessed or whatever at the time, then that's usually good enough. And sometimes it could be out of somebody's diary. It could be out of police records. There's a lot of times that they'll go through, like the Wild West, they go through the sheriff's log book of what he took in and that. And this particular pistol that we were talking about last week, the guy had bought it was a Colt Single Action Army. It was a really low serial number, and it happened to be the one that shot Wild Bill Hickok. And it was funny because the provenance was proven through by the steamboat captain who happened to be there and got shot, but as an afterthought or as a through and through or something. And so he had wrote down all the details of the incident and the serial numbers of the guns involved, and that's the reason that they could prove.
And who would think if you were the victim of a gunshot wound that you would be like, "Hey, dude, I need the serial number of that gun that just shot me."
It depends on how tough of an old dude you are.
I guess. There you go. I would be babying.
I think he was shot in the hand or the arm or something, so it wasn't like he was shot in something that he really needed. It was still.
I'd still be babying my keister for all of that. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. There's a lot of stuff.
So now, with that provenance, what happens to the value of that gun?
Well, depending on who it proves the gun belonged to, it makes a big difference. But there's some, like was it Jesse James? His mother, after he died, his mother would buy guns and then sell them as Jesse James's gun to supplement her income before there was Social Security. This was her Social Security plan. And they say that Bat Masterson would go, when he was going east, he would go to the gun shop and buy as many little cheap guns as he could. And then on the way east, he would sell people Bat Masterson's own personal firearm. Okay. And then when he was back east, he would buy guns, and then he would finance his trip back to the west by selling people.
Well, they were. Right. Because you bought them from Bat Masterson, so there's that. It was just there was a lot of them. Okay, got it.
Right. So I mean, sometimes when you start looking at it, there's a lot of them. Sometimes there's only a couple, and some of them. I mean, the best ones are the ones where you can. They say they're in New Mexico territory. The sheriff had taken the gun from the guy for some reason, documented it all down or whatever, and then the guy was let go or he escaped and he went and got another gun somewhere, and then so
that gun went into circulation somewhere. But there was absolutely.
Right, I mean, it wasn't the old like today where they destroy the stuff. Now the sheriff looked at it and says, "Oh, this is nicer than mine." It sticks in his pocket and away he goes.
Oh my God! So I know at one point you were trying to get the serial number for Annie Oakley's gun.
Right, I haven't looked at it too much. I mean, it's out there, but I don't know exactly where to find it.
So that's
I get sidetracked easily.
That's an interesting. So what if a gun belonged to my great-great-uncle Bobby Joe, who got hung for stealing horses?
Well, unless Bobby Joe was somebody super famous or he did something else, then it really doesn't make a difference. But
yeah, so everybody else has to know Bobby Joe, not just.
If he shot in the like the Wild West show with Annie Oakley and them, then maybe it was something or.
Right. Or that he got hung by somebody famous, but whatever. When we come back, Yehuda Remer is going to be on.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Rangemaster certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Okay, folks, we are back, and in our interview segment, we are here with the Pew Pew Jew, if you will, Yehuda Remer, who is all over the place in the Second Amendment world as a Second Amendment influencer, but he is a children's book author. So after last week when we were talking about children's books, it was like, we're going to continue this theme, and we're going to introduce you to other pro-Second Amendment, pro-safety children's book authors and talk about those books. So, hey, Yehuda, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be back with you guys.
It's always good. It's always good to have you on the show. So why don't we start with, how did you get started writing books, and why did you pick children's books?
So I started writing children's books because when I bought my first gun, I was living in LA, but I was married, 2 kids, out of the house. But my parents found out that I owned a firearm, and they kind of went ballistic and really went completely crazy about it. And I realized, like, I have to start educating my children. I can't own a gun in the home without educating my children on firearm safety. So I went to the NRA's website looking to find something. I found the Eddie Eagle program, which is great, but all it does is talk about what you do when you find a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be. And I realized that there was a lot more to firearm safety and firearms education. So I went to Amazon, and I went out to buy a book for my children so that they can read. And I was shocked that there were no books on the market specifically designed for children to educate themselves on firearm safety. So I wrote the first one.
Okay. You're like, okay. And so the first one was called Safety On. So tell folks about Safety On and how it went and what it covers.
So Safety On, it's an introduction to the world of firearms for children, and it really covers all aspects of gun safety. You know, what to do if you do find a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be, range rules, the 4 cardinal rules, how to have a healthy respect for your firearm just by keeping them clean, keeping them locked up. I even touch on toy guns as well in the book. So it really encompasses all aspects of gun safety, and the book is written for children. So it's not written for a parent necessarily on how to talk to your children. If your child is just learning to read at 6 years old or even 10 years old and knows how to read, that's what the book covers. It's for children.
Mm-hmm. So how did the industry, how did they respond to it?
I mean, I think they responded fantastically. You know, I went to the NRA show in Atlanta in 2017. It was the first time I'd ever been to a gun show. And here I am sitting in the media room, and all of a sudden I have, you know, like people like, you know, Rob Morse and Tony Simon. And I don't remember if you guys were there. It's been so long. But I kind of somehow someone mentioned that I wrote a children's book, and it was very well accepted. And I'm not going to say it's become the standard, but it kind of really has become the standard on gun safety for children, because there's no other book like it on the market.
Okay, nice. And then you went from that to a coloring book. And so you sell a coloring book that is gun safety related for kids.
Yes, so kids are incredibly visual.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to memorize things if they themselves are creating it. So I took my book Safety On and I created a coloring book version. So it's the exact same book, same text, same photos, except, well, not photos, illustrations, except the illustrations are coloring format. So a child can read the book and then color the pictures and really internalize the message that you see on each page about gun safety.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, is it designed for crayons? Is it designed for markers? Is it, you know, because there's so many adult coloring books now, I can just see it. But there you go.
I've seen it all. People send me pictures of crayons, markers, colored pencils. Someone even sent me watercolor painting. So.
Okay, got it. So if people are interested in your books, because we're going to continue on, but if they're interested, how do they find you? How do they find the books? And I understand that if they buy directly from you, you will autograph, so you can get an autographed book.
Yes, if you think my John Hancock is worth all of $10, I would highly appreciate you going to my website, thepewpewjew.com. Nearly all my books are there for sale. You get them signed. You just in the messages, just let me know who you want me to sign it to, and I usually send it out same day or next day. And if you don't think my John Hancock is worth $10, then definitely go support me on Amazon. But please leave me a 5-star review.
Okay, there you go. Do that. Now, I have to say that my favorite of all your books is the ABCs of Guns. And it is the book that when there is a new baby and everybody's giving baby gifts of some sort, this to me represents everything that I am. So I'm a reader, I'm pro-gun, you know, all of this stuff. And so I love to give new mothers the ABCs of Guns. And the new fathers are like, hey, look at this. And then the next thing you know, they are kind of off in the corner. They're reading the book, right? So that's what I really like. And so the opportunity when somebody has a brand new baby, and then if they're related to me and I'm spending more money, then they get the ABCs of Guns and a gun safe, so that they get a lockbox or a gun safe. So if they've got a gun in the house, they've got a baby, you know, we're promoting safety while we're promoting education. So talk about a little bit about the ABCs of Guns.
So ABCs of Guns was written for two reasons. And not in any particular order, I wrote ABCs of Guns because I was sick and tired of A's for apple and B's for banana, and clearly X, you know, a xylophone is not for right. Xylophones is a Z. Okay, I don't care whoever decides to spell xylophone with an X, like needs to be brought out back in some frontier justice. But that said, I got bored of it, so I decided to write a book, ABCs of Guns, where A is for ammunition and AR-15, B is for barrel and bipod. And as funny and humorous as it is, if God forbid any of us find ourselves in a situation where a child, 5-6-year-old, is holding a real gun and waving it around because they think it's a toy, and if you say, hey, take your finger off the trigger as you're trying to get to the kid, well, instead of the kid saying, well, where's the trigger, at least the kid will now understand, okay, I know where the trigger is, I know what it is, and I know to take my finger off of it, ensuring that you have a peaceful outcome. So there is definitely an educational point of the book, and it's for children to know the anatomy, if you will, of firearms.
Well, I think the other value of it is it normalizes it early in their education. Because
so X isn't for xylophone. What's it for? And we got to buy the book to find out.
Absolutely, Rob. You have to buy a signed copy.
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. And look, and he's not going to tell you. He's just moving on. Okay. So there we go. Now, I have to say, I have to admit that this is what caused me to, because I reached out to Yehuda and I was like, would you like to come on the show? And oh, by the way, I need to place an order because I've got second siblings that are now joining families, and I don't want to give them the ABCs of Guns because they already have that in the house, And so the signed copy of 27 words is the next gift. And so I think it's perfect. So for those of you who wonder what 27 words really is, it is the Second Amendment. The entire Second Amendment is only 27 words, and every word has meaning, but it's 27 words. So we've got a few minutes. Talk on 27 words a little bit, Yehuda.
So 27 words. It hit me that every time you talk to someone in the firearms industry or just anyone who's a gun owner, you're like, hey, why do you take your kids shooting? Why do you take your kids shooting? Well, we want them to be able to defend themselves. Now, yes, that's an incredibly important and very valid answer. However, there was something that no one ever talked about, and that was that we have the ability to take our children shooting in America and educate them on firearms because we have the Second Amendment. And you can train your kid to be the next John Wick, but if they don't understand why we have the Second Amendment, what it actually protects, then your kid is never going to go out and, yeah, he can be a great shooter, but they won't be out there actively defending the Second Amendment. So at an early age, it's very important for children to understand the importance of the Second Amendment and, what it really means and the breakdown of what the 27 words are. And that's where that book came along.
And what it really means. I mean, recently it came over my desk that there is school textbooks that say that the Second Amendment says that the military can have guns. That is their interpretation of what the Second Amendment says. So if that's what we're teaching our kids, we need to do a better job of it, and this book is one of those kinds of things. So one of the reasons why I invited you is that everybody's looking for Christmas gifts. Everybody's looking for holiday gifts. Everybody's looking for opportunities. What are they going to buy this little kiddo or that little kiddo? And reading is fundamental. I think we learned that years and years ago. But reading and then teaching them a message on the backside of that is all good. So hang on, Yehuda. We'll be back right after this message.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, we are back, and with us is our guest, Yehuda Remer, and Yehuda is the Pew Pew Jew, and you can find him on his website, thepewpewjew.com. The interesting thing about Yehuda is the fact that he wasn't, there's so many people that start out and they're in the gun community, and they're kind of raised there, and they just start there, and his story starts with a need. And he started to fulfill that need, and then the next thing you know, he's like an industry standard. And so I love that. And I mean, if you see a vacuum, you see a void, somebody steps in to fill it, and he has stepped in to fill that. And so your books. So which do you think is the most popular of your books, Yehuda?
I think Safety On still remains the most popular. I would say the ABCs comes a second, and the new one, Bullet Points, is definitely gaining traction. I'm looking to become number one eventually. So,
okay. So explain to folks or not? Is that a secret? Is that sort of like what does X stand for in the ABCs of guns? Or so
you got to imagine how many other books did he just sell because everybody wants to know what X stands for.
Okay, there
I know where you're going with this, and at this point, it's not a secret. I mean, literally, it says it in the description of bullet point. So, you know, I still have people messaging me pissed off because they buy the book thinking they're going to get one thing, and then they open it and it's completely different. And then at the same time, I get some people who are still messaging me saying, "Hey, man, you know, we've been following you for a long time, and we saw this book, so we were really curious as to why you wrote this book. And then, you know, we got mad at you at first, and then we got the book, and boy, did you get us! Like, they're like, we're buying copies for our, you know, everyone's going to get a signed copy for the stocking stuffers. We're buying it for our father who's pro-gun. We're buying it for our sister-in-law who hates guns." And it's just going everywhere. So
it's a gift for all.
Well, and of course, coming worse, you can use it as a diary or a day planner or something like that as your.
Well, I have such a weakness for bound books that I can write in, and so I have them, and so bullet points, because once you get past the author's signature and you open it up, it's empty because there are no points for why America should embrace gun control. It doesn't stand on its own, and so there was no. The video producer wants a copy of bullet points with every page signed. So.
Wow. Well, you do know, Amanda. I don't have it on my website yet, but I actually just released bullet points in hardcover on Amazon.
I saw that, and I thought that would be another one of those that it's like, okay, I've got, right. So, but you have other things. I mean, so the book line is great. It's amazing. It's entertaining. It's educational. It's all that. Then there's your T-shirts, and you poke fun at your religion. You poke fun at the Second Amendment. You poke fun at just all kinds of things. You poke fun at the world with your T-shirt designs. So talk about those a little bit, because I think that a pro-gun shirt doesn't have to have like a bear and a guy holding a rifle on it. It really doesn't.
No, I do a couple of things. A lot of my shirts are Jewish related, right? So like I'm right now wearing a sweatshirt has a menorah in honor of Hanukkah starting tonight. You know, it has a menorah made out of guns and says "Light 'em up." So I have things like that. I have. Do I even have it here? I don't even know where it is. I have a picture of a pig that says "Gun control is not kosher." A very popular shirt that I sold a bunch of them, and it was only going to be a limited run. I have a picture of a hand that's flexing, and there's a bullet hole. There's a bullet hole in the bicep, and it says "vaporized." So I tried very hard to stay up with current events, and if someone like the guy from the Kyle Rittenhouse says, my bicep was vaporized, I will come out with a shirt that makes fun of him because it's funny. So I stay very, on top of current events, and I mean, you remember when they came out with the Mazel Tov cocktail thing, and I know people have been sending me that left and right. I mean, we're talking about within 45 minutes of that meme hitting the internet, I had a shirt up on my website. I have CNN spins more than my dreidel. Just a lot of really fun things that I use. I'm very self-deprecating, right? So it's a way that keeps me sane. It's a way that I'm able to build a following, because people are like, okay, like this guy isn't a rabbi and he's not so by the book, and he's clearly, the black sheep of the family, and he's the wayward child, if you will. And I beat to my own drum, and if you like me, great. If you don't like me, I'm okay with that. and I just do my own thing, and I enjoy very much doing it, and I'm getting great feedback, so I'm going to keep on doing it until, I get bored with it.
Well, I don't think you're going to get bored because I think you're self-entertaining. So I think the fact that how you create all your humor is just like, okay, you're poking fun at me, you're poking fun at you, you're poking fun at the news, you're poking fun at, there is nobody who is safe in this. My favorite shirt is I bought a Woodstock shirt, and so it's got flowers and it's all this flower child looking thing. And it says Woodstock, and then in the flower arrangement is a Woodstock. And so it's really funny because people look at it and they're like, cool shirt, right? Like they start with, they're going down the flower child thing, and then they get it. And it just is, it entertains me. It humors me.
Thank you. I'll tell you, I have an ugly Hanukkah sweatshirt that's just absolutely hideous, and like Thursday night, this past Thursday night, I did photography. I did bar mitzvah photos, a really, really religious family, and I wore my sweatshirt there. And as I'm doing photos, and my wife was mortified. She's like, and I have matching sweatpants, so I told her, lucky I didn't wear the matching set. So. But I have a great time with it, and like I said, if you like my stuff, great. If you don't like my stuff, don't buy it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Now, let me ask you, if you are not of the Jewish faith, could you, can you wear Jewish-related items because they're funny? But is that there's that whole thing about people taking other people's religions, or that kind of, and so I didn't know, I'm just kind of, so can the Baptists wear the Jewish shirts, or is that just like, step back?
The way I see it is that, if you don't buy my stuff, you're anti-Semitic. So it's just no, look, you know what, I'm not like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but
you're just not allowed to swear. That's all.
Right. Just okay. It's like screw cultural appropriation, right? Like, if you think that my shirts are funny, like, just buy it, right? Like, and if someone says anything, you're like, no, I'm supporting this Jewish brand, Orthodox Jewish brand. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, I have a shirt that has a space laser on it with a Star of David, and it says, "Now I own a Jewish space laser," making fun of Representative Majori Green. And wear it. Get it. I don't care. I think it's funny. So that's just me, but who knows? There's too many people that will be offended by everything.
That one with his guns and the light 'em up is...
I think it's great. It really is.
Yep.
So, folks, check out his line of T-shirts. Check out his line of books. Go to the website, thepewpewjew.com, and look at it. It's all great Christmas ideas. You can buy Jewish things for your Christmas holiday.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
shooter standby.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, folks, we are back, and I'm going to tell you that this week I went looking for different things that you would want to know about, and one of them is I'm going to tell you that Tom Knighton is on fire.
Oh, I thought they wanted to know like where bullets were available or something like that.
Yeah, that's day 148, and there's some available now. I bought 1,000 rounds of 9mm, so see
right,
that.
it's only when you're using that middle of the road bullets that you can find them.
Well,
so try to find some 4.44 Marlins or some 4440s or something.
I don't know, but my 9mm 223, we restocked, resupplied, and it was available, so we were good.
You know, I was saying a thing the other day, and you know, the news is all about the ARs.
Oh, those bad black rifles?
Well,
Got it.
It's they're old enough now that they fit into the CNR licensing stuff.
They could, right?
Right. So if once it gets to 50 years old, then it's classified as a relic.
So if it's 50 years old, it's classified as a relic. Will they put it in the CNR?
Some of the stuff, like the Colt, the early Colt, whatever you want to call it, the SP ones, like the candy coated looking ones.
Yeah.
They're very, very collectible, and I would imagine that they probably are on the CNR list.
CNR Curio and Relic list.
Right.
So,
and but it's just funny that they're making such a big fuss about it now, but it was available since 1959, but it wasn't really popular until Bill Clinton hated it.
Right, in the
when
1990s.
When he started hating it, then everybody started hating it.
But there's actually I think there might have been two reasons, because you know that Armalite.
Well, the first reason was old people, like myself included, prefer a gun that's made out of wood and steel and looks like a real gun, and that looks more like something that come with your vacuum cleaner.
Well, so there's that. But so Armalite, when they did this, when they created that gun, their company didn't survive through all of the.
Well, the government's good at that kind of stuff. I mean, when the company that built the Jeep originally didn't get the contract for the Jeep, they gave it to other people who they thought could build it faster or better. So the government takes your good idea from you and moves it to somewhere else where they got more manufacturing capabilities.
Or they've got more friends, or they've got more whatever. Yeah.
Right. Kickbacks, whatever you want to call
whatever that kind of is. So,
but the thing is until I don't know exactly what year the flat top receiver was available for the AR, but the early ones that had the handle built right into them, they kind of limited you to this special scope that Colt had that was like 2 power. So I mean, for a police officer or whatever, 2 power is plenty. But if you're trying to shoot a coyote or a prairie dog or something, 2 power is not much power. So when they went to the flat top receiver where you could put any kind of scope you wanted onto it, made a big difference. I think that's probably between Bill Clinton and the flat top receiver, probably two of the things that probably revved up.
I think the third thing was that Armalite got reinvigorated by somebody who had a different vision, and so marketing plays a big part of it too.
Right, but very few people have a Armalite gun or even know of an Armalite gun, so Colt's always been the king for that. If crazy, you got an Armalite gun, it's probably I think it's Model 17 was a gold-plated aluminum automatic shotgun they made for a while.
Okay.
or the AR-7, that little gun that James Bond shot a helicopter down with. It all fits into the buttstock and floats. Everybody had one of those.
Everybody wanted one of those. So yeah, it's like 101 Dalmatians. Everybody wants the dog. Everybody wants this gun. Everybody wants the Clint Eastwood guns.
You can't go wrong with something that was famous on TV.
Right. There is that. So, okay. I'm not sure where we're going with this. I'm really not sure where we're going.
We're just having a fun time with it anyhow.
Got it. Okay. Well, I was amazed at how prolific both Tom Knighton and John Petrolino were this week on articles and stories that just make
they've been housebound all week, and they get nothing else to do while somebody else is doing the cooking. So
okay, that's
they were
it.
able to put out some.
There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff out there. So one of
was
them,
either write a story or do the dishes. Which one do you want to do?
honey, I got to go right. I'm there. I am there. So I want to share with you an excerpt of a letter that that Tom Knighton got his hands on, and it was a letter to the editor. And so I want you to think about the sentiment behind this writer, because they're out there, folks. That's really it. And so this was the letter to the editor, and it says, regarding the November 19th article, Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty of all charges. That was the heading of the article. I strongly disagree with this acquittal, as I firmly believe that when you bring a gun into a public space, that means that you intend to commit premeditated murder. Okay, they're out there, folks. This is a mindset that says that if you are a carry concealed person, your intent is to murder somebody. That's the only reason why you would carry a gun. But she goes on, I am so tired of gun owners claiming they have infinite rights, and it's time to infringe on those rights. Owning a gun is not part of your body, like reproductive rights, sexual orientation, gender identity, skin color, ethnicity, age, or disability, and therefore does not deserve the same legal protections. Okay, so legal protections for sexual orientation, gender identity, there's a spot where some of this stuff, in my opinion, I don't care who you love. I just don't want it in my face.
The funny part is the next thing is like she agrees with former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens. So who actually knows what John Paul Stevens ever said? So it's almost like is this a normal person, or is it somebody who is set up to look like a normal person, and they're quoting?
Oh no, she got it from Demanding Mommies or one of those kinds of things. That here's this, right to your editor, letter to your editor. I agree with the former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, who said we need to repeal the Second Amendment so we can enact more gun control laws, sue gun sellers and manufacturers. Holding gun owners accountable begins with barring anyone for under the age of 21 from accessing a gun, just like we bar those under 21 from purchasing alcohol. Well, except we send them to the military and we give them a gun. So the thing is if you want to wait until after they're 21 to go into the military, in those 3 years, they've gone to college, they've gotten a job, they've gotten married, they've gotten...
We got other things to do at that point. Where when you're 17, 18, you still haven't got a plan. So
you've got other financial opportunities, financial responsibilities, and so you cannot go off to... So all of a sudden, then the military will become draft again, or conscripted, or consign something. But it's amazing. And so Tom really kind of tears apart what she had to say. But and his headline is perfect. The letter writer is clueless about gun rights. Yeah, completely.
The thing is, most of them are clueless about all rights. Mm-hmm. They just gun rights. They don't see those as real at all.
Right, and they just pick some things that are, whatever this is.
Remember, we used to have that guy that come into the gun shop all the time, and he would complain about the fact that there was too many laws and that they were passing new stuff all the time.
Right.
But then anytime something was going on, he would say there ought to be a law
against that. And it's like, wait. You said that there was too many
laws. There at the same time.
You can't have laws that are in your favor if you aren't willing to accept laws you don't like, right?
Right.
So you either want more laws and then you get them all, or you want less laws and you lose them all, right? It doesn't happen the other way. It's sort of like you buy mixed jelly beans and you only want the red, yellow, and orange.
The thing is, like I say, some of the stuff, the Supreme Court is on the edge of letting go of some of the laws and stuff like this, and it's like nobody wants to get rid of all laws. That's the trouble. Is you can't defund the police or whatever, and then go back to where there's no law. And
no.
So there's a spot. I was going to say, I thought there was a spot in here where they quoted. It must be a different story.
Okay.
They were quoting
just the gist.
Supreme Court Justice.
Oh, somebody had said, in one of the articles we were reading,
and he pointed out
this new Supreme Court is on the precipice of. Oh, we'll find it. We will find it because it is a really, really good.
Well, here's one I was looking at. It was Antonin Scalia saying that all rights are not unlimited, and that the religious freedoms don't give you the right to do human sacrifices, and freedom of speech doesn't give you the right to holler fire in a theater. So they have to have some.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, folks, we are back. And so, we started the show with a conversation.
I was going to say, we started with some abstract stuff going on.
Oh, I was going to say.
I don't even know how you're getting back to where we started.
And you wonder, it sounds like I actually make a living from speaking for a living and I'm like stuck, but okay. But no, we started the show with what are you considering for holiday gifts? What are you considering for your significant other, for your kids, for, all of those kind of things in the Second Amendment world?
AR-15 lower receiver with the Let's Go Brandon logo on it.
Okay, I think that's political. There is that. I was actually thinking that maybe what you want to do is consider firearms legal. If you carry concealed, your spouse carries concealed, do you have legal protection? And consider firearms legal, because you do not want to
It may come in handy, and it's actually very reasonably priced.
It's very reasonably priced. And Eye on the Target Radio has a discount code, EOTT, when you sign up. And
when
that
you first said that, I was always trying to figure out, what was EOTT?
You are a brain trust.
Blows my mind.
You are
I'm
brain
just looking
trust.
for something that's too hard. It was easier than I was expecting, apparently.
Oh my goodness, right? Eye on the Target, right? EOTT. You are an absolute brain trust there.
I'm telling you, I was thinking that there was more to it than that.
It's not. We're going really, really pretty simple. But consider that. And then if you want to, here's another thing to do is go shopping at Car Arms and car.com and look at the stuff that they've got, because I don't know if you saw it or you heard, but I got the Tiger Stripe Tommy gun, and man, here's how you make yourself popular with all your friends, because they don't even need to shoot it. They just want their picture taken holding it.
I was just watching a video on Facebook, and the guy who had one of the BFR, the biggest, finest revolver,
right?
And that 450 Bushmaster, and it seemed like it was it meant it when he pulled the trigger.
Well, I have to go to the gym a whole lot more before I start with one of those, because I got scrawny little chicken arms. I don't know if you can see scrawny little chicken arms, but yeah, it would definitely need some oomph to that. The other thing that you can do is you can donate to a charity of your choice.
I was thinking to Paul's Desert Eagle Fund or something.
You could donate to our video producer's Desert Eagle Fund. No, you could make a donation to someone who's standing in the front lines of the gun control pushback, the anti-gun control fight. And so that would be making a donation to CNJFO, to make a donation to Second Amendment, SAF.org, to the NRA, and say, I'm to the DC Project. I am supporting these folks who are on the front lines to keep us all...
Right. It's, like I say, a giant motor that runs on money.
Well, there is that. But yeah, so you could say, I didn't want to give you another sweater. I didn't want to give you another pair of socks. So instead, I made a donation in your name, and here's what's happening with your money. So those would be good considerations and good things. So let's talk about situational awareness, because we really haven't talked about this lately. So on October 26th, this is a John Petrolino story also. On October 26th, there was a robbery, and it's in Pennsylvania, Norristown, PA. There's a guy who was at a casino, and he did very well at the casino, or else he did very poorly, and he was really loaded. I don't know which. But he cashed in $10,000 worth of chips. So he could have started with $20,000, or he could have started with $1,000. Not sure. Not the point of the story. But he cashed in $1,000 worth of chips.
Well, somebody was watching him.
While somebody was watching him. And when he
And they
went
followed
home,
him to his home.
and then they killed him. And because they're looking for the $10,000. So how many times do you go someplace and somebody hands you cash?
Well, you go to the bank and they count it out on top of the counter 25 times.
I
In case
have,
anybody back there missed it, here's $2,500.
yeah,
I'm
and I
counting
mean
out.
they're just going to count it out way high and wave it at you, and it's like you count it back there near you, you count it quietly, and then you hand it to me in an envelope because it's nobody's business what I walk out of this bank
Right,
with.
I'll just look over the top and count it as fast as you're counting it.
Great. We're good. Because at one point, I banked in a bank that was in a grocery store. And that just wigged me out even further
In
because...
a big glass room that everybody in the whole store can watch.
Oh, yeah. So the office is a big glass room. And so, luckily, the only things you do in the big glass room, at least in my opinion, is you give them money. You never take money out of the big glass room. But I have done a couple fundraisers where I come into the bank with Mission Impossible music playing in my head and a briefcase full of money.
Did you have a handcuff on you from your briefcase?
That's how I felt, right? I felt like I was that way. But we'll just say that I wasn't strapped to the briefcase, but I was strapped, if you get the gist. And I walk up to the counter. This is at the grocery store, mind you. I walk up to the counter, and they're like, well, you can just put it up here. And I was like, you're going to need some more space, right? And so then we go into the little glass room, and then they start spreading it out. So there's $27,000 in cash spread out on the glass room table. Let me tell you, that makes a heck of a stack. And then I leave without any money. So, but I'm not comfortable with that. I don't
The big
want
thing
people
is
to
the
see.
people who are watching you in the glass room don't know if you're left with pockets stuffed full or not. So you may get knocked in the head for nothing.
For nothing. I have nothing. And so, but situational awareness is that you need to be aware of who's seeing what you're doing, what they're perceiving from that seeing, and how secure you are with it, right? So it's crazy. And it's sad that there are people who decide that your stuff needs to be their stuff, and you don't get a say in that.
Well, it's been that way for a long time. So the big thing is we need to discourage people from thinking that way because it may not go good for them instead of letting them out of jail on $1,000 bond or no bond at all.
Well, there is all of that. So, but pay attention, be aware, know who's coming in your inner circle, know who's coming in your perimeter, and know who's what they're seeing.
If you're dealing with a large bunch of cash like that, take one of your friends with you so that two people are paying attention to what's happening.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, we are back. And one of the things that, let's continue on of talking about situational awareness just a little bit.
I was going to say, we are probably not the experts on situational awareness.
No, but we're probably more aware than...
Hey, you need to think about it. What if your comfort zone is, say, 10, 12 feet out, you need to make it bigger so you're paying attention to what's happening farther around. They always say it's not, you're not actually... It's not going to be a shootout between you and somebody else. It's usually two people are shooting it out, and you're going to be walking through the middle of it like you. Yep, I don't know what's happening here.
Wait, if you have a theme song, if you have theme music that's playing when you walk, it's right? That's kind of it, and you'll just walk in the middle of it.
Right. So you need to pay attention to what's happening and around you, and someone's screaming or hollering at. No matter what it is, whether they're having fun or they're actually getting ready to hit you in the head with a shopping cart or something, and you need to know what's happening at that point.
Exactly. So Petrolino talks about the Jeff Cooper's color coding for situational awareness, and I'm going to offer to him an opportunity that when he has availability, I'd love him to come onto the show, talk about that and some other stories.
The thing is, I mean, he starts out with code white, which is you're at ease, you don't know what's going on. And this is where we say, no matter how much training you have or whatever is going on, you usually, if you're the guy they picked out to be the victim, you're taking one for the team because you are not ready or prepared or anything for this to happen. And then, like the government with all their terrorist things.
His level of code white is not even that. It's the fact that you don't have any training, you don't have a firearm. Even if you were the second person, you couldn't do anything about it unless you grab the spoon off the table and say, okay, here's my tool, whatever this is.
Well, that's the thing is, how many people are prepared to go in? That's the thing. I mean, everybody thinks, how do I get away? But if you're if you're right there, are you farther ahead to go in and try to take control of the situation,
Right.
or are you farther ahead to try to run from it? And
You've seen me run. I can't run.
right.
We're from a family that my
Of course,
sister
I'm not so
flunked.
sure that your spoon technique is up to par either.
My sister flunked running in kindergarten. No, skipping. She flunked skipping in kindergarten.
When
We're
you
not the
run
most
over and
coordinated.
clunk them between the eyes with the spoon, I don't think it's going to...
No, I was thinking more of the scoop method, not clunking method.
You farther had to hold on to the eating end and use the handle to stick in an eyeball or a neck or something.
Okay. That would be that. I was thinking.
You got to think about it. It's not really going to be pleasant for either one of you because...
And
in reality, both of you are going to need to change clothes afterward because it's going to be coming out both ends.
Because I'm gonna be so excited I'm gonna pee. Right? You're just saying. For you to be fighting for your life, it's not funny, but you have to be prepared and you have to think about it. So it cannot be a brand new thought that you are going to.
Right, you can't right then make up a plan and figure out how you're going to do it. You need to have thought about this in advance.
Right.
Think about some moves that you might want to use.
Hey, at least I thought about the fact
that
that I'm grabbing a spoon, which is better than what am I going to do hiding under their
Oh,
little
your Alice training should have told you to take those 2 little crystal salt and pepper shakers and fire off some 100-mile-an-hour fastballs first.
You've seen me throw. I'm pretty sure that the window would be in jeopardy, but not necessarily.
Then once they got a knot on their head from the salt shaker, then you go in with your spoon to take control of the situation.
Exactly. That is, you are right.
So anyhow, we've been talking about Ohio and Pennsylvania are duking it out to see who's going to be number 20, I think it is, on the...
21, 22.
Anyhow, on the constitutional carry, I mean, they've been, I don't know what you would call it, neck and neck there, like a horse race. And so now Alabama comes from behind, and their lawmaker says that he's got the votes for constitutional carry, even though the local sheriff is going crazy about this. Mobile County Sheriff Sam Cochran, who says he's Second Amendment leaning, says that
I'm Second Amendment leaning,
but without the opportunity for him to take your gun away from you because you didn't have a permit, then he wouldn't have no time to look at what other crime you might be doing. But in the meantime, he had caught some 19-year-old who had a gun that he wasn't allowed to have at the time.
Right. Okay.
And then they let him go, and he got another gun from somewhere else, and then he went to a football game and shot the place up. So his argument doesn't really hold water on his how he was going to use the old law to stop criminals when the new law would be better or less better or something. So...
Right. So the Sheriff Cochran is against the constitutional carry. No,
he says that that's a tool that they use, and if you out in the street with a gun, that they can just stop you and take it away from you. Well, if you're out in the street doing something with the gun that would
you can
cause
already
them,
stop me to take it away from me.
But
only if you have cause.
Right, they have to have some reason, and now they can just do it because you don't have a permit, which is the reason apparently.
Well, it was really interesting. I was reaching out to the state reps in Ohio, and as I'm having conversations with multiple state reps, it's really funny because the county that we reside in has a couple of them. And so we're split up, and so it was like, okay, I'm utilizing this as an opportunity to speak to multiples of them. And one of them was on the fence because the Sheriff's Association was against the constitutional carry. And it was like, did you even ask why? Do you know? So we had a variety of conversations on that, and I happen to know that this state rep, we'll leave them unnamed, is a concealed carry holder, knows the value of concealed carry, and so I use that as the argument to say, go look up their stand before Ohio passed their concealed carry, because their quote then was there was going to be blood in the streets, right? And we know that that is not the case. And so I believe that we managed to sway the state rep, because I do know that they voted in a positive direction for constitutional carry in Ohio.
Alabama has open carry just like Ohio does.
Uh-huh.
And he states in here that why would it be illegal to, or why should carrying a gun in plain view be perfectly legal while carrying the same gun while wearing a jacket is a crime? And so he's just trying to...
That's a very good point. So,
and I know Ohio had...
Fix it so that you can carry a gun whether you have it hidden or you don't. Right.
And Ohio also has where if you're going to get into the car, you have to take the gun off of your person, unload it, lock it in the trunk of the car, and then get in the car, and then so there's this time when you're unarmed because
and there's multiple gun handlings in there, and so we have all been taught that the most dangerous time associated with a gun is when you're just manipulating it, handling it.
Right. You take a chance on doing something you weren't really planning on, but just out of habit, you pulled the trigger at the wrong time or something.
You pulled the trigger, you snagged the trigger, you caught it on something, your holster did something, any of those kinds of things all kind of fit into it. So don't handle your gun more than you have to when you're out in public. Handle your gun at the range.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So in New Mexico, they've passed a law that says that you have to have a gun. It says...
It's a New Mexico town, and this is in pushback because New Mexico, they just passed an ordinance that says that they can no longer
You can't carry a gun into the roundhouse, which is their state house.
So they disarmed everyone going to the state house, and I know that... I follow one of the state reps there, and she was losing her mind about this and fought, but did not have enough votes to push against it.
Well, anyhow, they said that you got in this particular time, you have to have a means to defend yourself. It's kind of funny because they're saying gun in part of it, but then it's in order to attend the Estancia town council meeting, one must be legally armed. By entering this meeting, you acknowledge that you are prepared to defend yourself and beliefs with what you believe and necessary to do so. I mean, I know people with your spoon would be fully capable of defending themselves. And
they're not getting my spoon. I have my
pepper spray. They have.
So you just have to be. You have to be able
I have
to
a friend
defend yourself,
who could,
and that you believe that you are skilled and trained and will. And
I have a friend who could mess you up with his cell phone. So
yeah.
But I was thinking back to in 1982, Kennesaw, Georgia, passed a law in response to Morton Grove, Illinois. Morton Grove passed a law saying you couldn't have a gun in town, and Kennesaw, Georgia says that.
Take that.
Head of household was required to maintain a firearm in town. Since then, this was in 1982. In 2000, Virgin, Utah passed a similar law to the Kennesaw, Georgia.
Okay.
But I also looked it up. The violent crime rate was below 2% in Georgia, in Kennesaw, Georgia, and they've had one murder in the last 6 years.
So there you go. Everybody's required to have a gun, but the crime rates are not through the roof. What's really funny is this is a Cam Edwards story in Bearing Arms. And if you're on the internet, go look at this because there's a gun picture. And when you look at the gun picture, the internet tells you it's sewing machine parts. Just saying. It cleans it up, maybe. I don't know.
That's some sewing machine.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.IamTheTargetRadio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.IamTheTargetRadio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Rangemaster certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, I told you that this is John Petrolino Day. I have no idea why he was so prolific, but every story that he wrote this week has resonated with me in some manner.
Like I say, some story writing, dishes. Which way do you want to do it?
I don't know. I really appreciate him. And now and then I say stuff and
I hate doing dishes. I'd even write something if I had to, if those two choices.
You can't write something because punctuation is a requirement. I'm just saying. So, folks, Rob says punctuation is a suggestion, not necessarily a requirement.
Right. You stop and breathe when you think you need to.
I don't know what you mean when you don't use the correct
Well,
punctuation.
sometimes it would be all capitals or screaming cuss words, but I got to tone it down a little bit.
You do. So it's just one giant run-on sentence. But there we go. So this article is Kyle's Law is Key to Liberating Citizens from Crime. And so here's what's going on.
Well, first off, this is in Oklahoma, so it's not all across the country.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but give it a couple days.
Well, even more so. Let's go backwards. So it is the country sat and watched the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And I mean, if Facebook was anything to go by in the Second Amendment world, there were so many people that were watching it and commenting, and it was like a sports event, play by play, blow by blow. And the thing that people were amazed by is once you saw the video, that how could they say it was anything but self-defense? And they refused to kind of put that out.
I like how when the judge would make some kind of determination, the MSNBC and those guys would go crazy over the fact that he's
how dare he
he's ruling from the bench or something like this. And
it was really depending on which team.
On the Super Bowl, in the Kyle Rittenhouse Super Bowl, you were in.
You would sit and you were like, I can't believe the judge said that. Or you could be on the other team and be like, I can't believe the prosecutor said that. The jacketed, that hollow point bullets are intended to hit their target, and then that would be where the explosion and vaporization came from too. But, so, what has happened is that, well, there's a couple different things that came together, and obviously this legislator in Oklahoma has read Andrew Bracca's work. And Andrew Bracca is an attorney who wrote the book, The Law of Self-Defense Principles. He's a very prolific writer, blogger. There's a lot of stuff that you get to see out there from him. And as he was writing on he's got a website called The Law of Self-Defense, and you can go check that out. But he says that the legal process, this is Bracca, says that the legal process has been weaponized and that it's unethical, and there is no downside for the prosecutors. They earn political stripes for at least smearing the unpopular defendant, even if the jury finds him not guilty. We watched this with Kyle Rittenhouse. We watched this with George Zimmerman. I mean, in the Zimmerman trial, you know the first name of the Tyvon Martin.
Well, and then
you know the last name of George Zimmerman. So it was the first name because you were friends with them. You were emotionally connected to them.
Well, some of the pictures early on, they showed us pictures of him when he was like 12 years old instead of when he was 20.
The news teams picked sides. The prosecutor then went with that same thing. So we got to see that happen. But there is nothing that can be done to the prosecutors, even if they have no case. So this law is saying that the proposal for Kyle's law is to force state and the state and the prosecutor to personally be on the line if the case is brought that, as Bracca says, that it's laughably weak. So that he wants to see probable cause hearings become meaningful again, come back, and by requiring the state to demonstrate that it has enough evidence to bring the case to trial, because it's not happening, because there wasn't enough evidence. They called this, and they filed the charges on Kyle Rittenhouse within 2 days without having seen.
You've seen too where they halfway through they know they weren't doing too well, so they wanted to see if they could change the outcome by
changing the charges.
Right, dropping the charges down and see if they could catch him in something at that point.
Well, the thing is that when you decide which charges you're charging them with, that's at the start of the trial. I don't know that I have ever heard, I'm not a lawyer, I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I don't believe that I've ever heard where they allow them to say, oh, well, look, I'm not winning, so I'm just going to drop back.
Floating charges.
Right, I'm going to drop back a little bit and say, can I get him for the fact that he didn't return his book report or his library book last month? You know, that kind of thing. So it's really interesting. So in this Oklahoma law, or that is a proposed law. It is not a law. Senator Nathan Dahm, D-A-H-M, filed legislation to ensure Oklahomans who use self-defense won't have to face trial for political reasons. That's the heart of it. And it says that the state would have to reimburse the defendant for all reasonable costs, including loss of wages, legal fees incurred, and other expenses involved in their defense if the person is charged with murder and found not guilty due to justifiable homicide. So there's got to be some steps in there, because the prosecutor needs to be able to try his best case. But we've flipped away from trying his best case and looking at somebody to determine if they're guilty or if they are.
Right, they just let everything go to trial anymore, and whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter to them. They're getting paid the same.
Right, and it's so the thing is here. This is the part that is crazy. So Rittenhouse has been found not guilty. What were the legal fees for this? How much did it cost them in lawyers? And so, okay, his life is never going to be the same. Everybody knows who he is. His name is a household name.
Well, the judge actually, at the end of the trial, told him he should change his name. That was it's so high profile that he would be farther ahead if he'd flip it to change his name. I didn't catch that. I really didn't, because that would be, yeah. So he didn't offer him witness protection program, but he offered him an opportunity. Because I mean, really, there are certain names in history that you hear them and you immediately think of the media storm. Your name is Mud.
Your name. I mean, think about it. Whose names can you come up with that would invoke that kind of a response or that?
Well, so Mud and Lizzie Borden and
Well, let's just go Monica Lewinsky, George Zimmerman. I mean, there are these O.J. Simpson. There are these cases.
Right.
Where you immediately, I mean, you hear O.J. Simpson and you think of his white Ford Bronco, and then, the whole theatrical performance that was the trial, wherever
right,
it is.
If the gloves don't fit, you must have quit. I mean, I don't know why they would go with the rhyming and early breakdance type of.
I don't know, but. So think about this, but I think this Kyle's Law, watch this. Pay attention to this. We'll be watching this. We'll be filling you in. See what happens in Oklahoma. If it goes in Oklahoma, we will start to share the link with you that you can share it with your state rep, and maybe they want to pick it up there. They're going to have to find some rules. They're going to have to say, what is a laughably weak
well, I think
some of it,
they would pick it up when they go to a trial ahead of time. And when they try to decide whether it's worthwhile or not.
Right, so that they have to demonstrate. So the probable cause hearings. That's probably where that needs to happen. So we'll talk to you again next week.